drinking punch and drinking vodka, drinking Bacardi and cherry.
I'm drinking anything.
Anything you give me.
I'm drinking anything.
For this Christmas,
I'm drinking anything.
for this Christmas,
I'm drinking anything.
I'm drinking white, I'm drinking black, I'm drinking punch and drinking vodka, drinking Bacardi and cherry.
I'm drinking anything.
Anything you give me.
I'm drinking anything. I'm drinking anything.
I went to bar and gone to Paria. A pretty Spanish named Maria. She back in the trunk of a Tinder. She needs some things so Venezuela. She needs some water, some toilet paper, a bag of bricks, and 3 avocado. She done pack the car, say she not staying for have a parang home by she later. So we jump in the Tida, heading down the south.
Christmas, I gave you my heart. Yes, indeed, of course. Pleasant good night to all and sundry. Yes, welcome, of course, to the Tuesday edition of the Corridor Transformation. Yeah, I thought we'll get some smooth and cool and, of course, what I consider to be thoughtful music. Yes, indeed, of course, but reggae style, so I will not be, of course, accused of infringing copyrights because it is in the genre of reggae and for which we have no let's say, penalty as far as intellectual property is concerned in relation, of course, to the media platforms that we are beaming from. Of course, you will get us at all times now on YouTube. Of course, you just log in to, of course, Corridor Transformation, and on Facebook, well, just log in to Love Laventil, and I say so without apologies. I say so because of my commitment and dedication, and in the solemn and the sincere and what I consider to be everlasting belief that at the appropriate time, Laventil will, of course, recognize that it has been committing suicide politically, I'm talking about here, and that the political kobo, the political, what I consider to be predator called Rowley and the PNM, Laventil will eventually see that they are toxic, they are evil, diabolical, and that they have weaponized, of course, government against the people, and they have exploited Laventil. Tonight, of course, we will look at that level of exploitation. And don't tell me I know what I'm talking about, you know. But today, of course, I was challenged. But before that, let me say once again, of course, I'm behind the scenes. But of course, I am here behind the cameras. And of course, I want to tell you as well that you can get us on both platforms, YouTube and Facebook. As I said, with respect to YouTube, you log into, once again, Corridor Transformation, and with respect, of course, to Facebook, Love Laventil. So having put that aside, let us get a little more of this reggae, Christmassy music, and then, of course, we will go into the substantive matter tonight, apart from, of course, telling you how the PNM owes Laventil. I will want also to prove that Rowley initial political foray was with the NJAC. He put his political anchor there. It cannot be, of course, erased. It is history. But he will not tell you that. But today, of course, a man I respect a great deal. Of course, he's a walking encyclopedia. I'm talking about, of course, none other than our good friend from the trade union movement, the transport trade union. I'm talking about Nunez. And he did say that Rowley lied about being a part of NJAC. Well, that is for him to reconcile after I present where I got the information from. You see, it's nothing but the truth. Nothing but the truth. So, let's begin. Let's begin the task. let's pause, people. Let's pause, and let me say formally, of course, etiquette and of course good manners will dictate that I say without reservation a pleasant good night to all and sundry, east, west, north, south, central, our friends in Tobago, and wherever you are streaming on the World Wide Web, a pleasant good day to you. You see, on the ground report this morning, I was challenged to, of course, say whether or not, and why was I saying that Rowley, the first political bucket deposit, or put another way, where he anchored his political fortunes was with the NJAC. But of course, Mr. Nunez, I told him I'm going to play tonight, so I'm sure that he probably is waiting for that. And of course, I say what I mean, and I mean what I say. It may not be on time. It may not be according to your expectation in terms of time frame. But bet your bottom dollar when I say that I am doing something, I will damn well do it. And that, of course, is a measure of the character and the personality called Lennox Samuel Smith, or vice versa, Samuel Lennox Smith. That being as it may, let us go straight, of course, to Dr. Rowley and his confession in an interview, of course, with Julian Rogers just before the 2015 general elections, when, of course, he answered the question as to his political initiation. And where was that? Notice, he stays studiously and conscientiously clearly, because we know him now from saying that his first party affiliation or association was NJAC. But I want to say that in that interview, he was of the view that NJAC was not a political organization. I want to tell you that. And in his view, he saw it in that interview as a loose entity led by Dennis Granger or Macandal Dagger, as we know him eventually to be. But I want to tell you, even then, he was being blasted dishonest, because NJAC contested elections subsequently. So, unless he's claiming that he's part of the formation of the organization, which of course Nunez has all right to refute and dispute, but he cannot dispute the fact that I got it from a source that I consider, but not consider, that has to be practical, real, and it's a gospel truth, because that is what it is. Nobody could wash that away. Not even Rowley could wash it away. But listen to Rowley as he, of course, exposed his initial political agenda. And I want to say, notice how calm and collective he looks, like he can't mash hands. And I want you to also, while he is speaking, to connect that persona, that figure that you're seeing on the screen, to what we know him to be today. Arrogant, contemptuous, but there, when he was looking for the office of Prime Minister, he was calm, he was docile, he couldn't mash hands, he was impeccable, he, of course, was respectful. But as soon as he got into the office of Prime Minister, knowing that it cannot be taken away from him easily, he then, of course, disclosed his true character. What does that say? Well, the old people say, wolf in sheep clothing. Look at this wolf in sheep clothing at the same time as he was confessing that his first political preference would have been NJAC, that was diametrically opposed to Eric Williams and the PNM, and therefore he has no credibility, he has no authority, he has no moral compass, he has no moral high ground to criticize the people like Boynes, who, when he wanted, of course, to stay where he is as far as the leadership of the PNM is concerned, and wanting to, of course, to influence the leadership, and Boynes was contesting. He told Boynes in no uncertain terms in a meeting, listen, one time you're in the UNC, the next time you're in the PNM, you have to be constant. And when you're batting, and don't get me vexed before I play that too, you know, because he made the analogy of cricket, and he said when you're batting, you have to put down your head and bat. When of course there is some runs on the board by those who would have preceded you. That is what this rapscallion and this no good said then, and we know you are building or putting the building blocks together in order, of course, not just to continuously deceive, but to, of course, as we have seen, unleash the most incompetent, impotent, corrupt, and politically depraved gang in Trinidad and Tobago's political evolution. And therefore we know the PNM must be relegated to the dustbin of history if that is the kind of quality that they can, of course, project or indeed muster, manufacture, create after, of course, that devastating loss by the PNM in 1986. Very, very important. These dates are important because it will also, of course, be important for my argument that the PNM owes Laventille a debt of gratitude, and therefore they have betrayed Laventille over the years and see Laventille as any other constituency when it was Laventille that saved the PNM in 1986. I studied in Manning and San Fernando East. That was as a result of a magnanimous Robinson who said he doesn't want, of course, to have a recount there. If a recount had only taken place, Manning would have not been able to, of course, lead the PNM or even considered in a real sense. But let's go straight, of course, to what Rowley said then in that interview with Julian Rogers. Watch his face. Looking like a choir boy, looking like an altar boy, looking like an acolyte, but is really wolf in sheep clothing. Listen.
Do you think that Trinidad is ready for another Togolonian to be leader of the country?
I think this country is ready for a leader.
In an unprecedented all-access interview, regionally renowned journalist and media personality Julian Rogers goes on a one-on-one with a principal figure and one of the most enduring names in Trinidad and Tobago politics and government, leader of the opposition People's National Movement, Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley.
When I became leader of the PNM in 2010, an application was put in. And that application was for the job of Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago.
Let's talk about your political education. Where did that begin?
My political education began in 1970 when I was a teacher at Arena Government Secondary, and it was the era of the Black Power movement with what was then the university students led by Gibbs Granger. And I got very involved in that, largely through a fellow Bishop's High School friend of mine.
I think we should start again because I know people would like to hear every syllable, every formation of the response by Rowley to, of course, Julian Rogers. My apology, I had, of course, the volume on low, so some of you may not have got to what he said earlier, but I don't want you to believe that was part and parcel of his acolyte type deception that he, of course, exhibited in that interview. Let's go again.
Do you think that Trinidad is ready for another Togolonian
to be leader of the country?
I think this country is ready for a leader.
In an unprecedented all-access interview, regionally renowned journalist and media personality Julian Rogers goes on a one-on-one with a principal figure and one of the most enduring names in Trinidad and Tobago politics and government, leader of the Opposition People's National Movement, Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley.
When I became leader of the PNM in 2010, an application was put in. And that application was for the job of Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago.
Let's talk about your political education. Where did that begin?
My political education began in 1970 when I was a teacher at Arima Government Secondary. And it was the era of the Black Power movement with what was then the university students.
Talk up, Rowley, talk up. You could talk up.
And I got very involved in that, largely through a fellow Bishop's High School friend of mine called Anthony McFarlane, who was a student involved in the Sir George William University problem in Canada, where West Indian students were fighting racism. And they came back here educating us about the need to challenge the status quo, because there were certain remnants of the colonial era which had to be challenged. Not meaning to hurt or harm anyone, but meaning to complete the liberation that had come with independence. And I got myself involved in listening to the lectures of these people and actually participating in talking to people about it. And I first spoke to an audience at Jogi Road in Sawa on this issue as an NJAC person. I first spoke to an audience at Jogi Road in Sawa on this issue as an NJAC person. Those of us who believe in the need for change and real meaningful change to open the door for real development and progress, we felt that we had to be on board. And I always felt that if I had a point of view to express in my country, I should be able to express it without fear. And I did that in 1970. We were out speaking on platforms, and we got news that Gordon Grant Hardware was on fire. And we knew that was big trouble. We knew nothing about it, but NJAC would be blamed, and trouble was coming. So we had to stay up all night in a restaurant to make sure that we had a perfect alibi. And the next day, I was at my grandfather's house, and I got a long lecture from my grandfather as to where I was heading. And he virtually instructed me to go back to Trinidad, to my mother's place. They came looking for me. The police came looking for me, but I was in Trinidad, having left there the night before. And I think that scared me. And then a lot of people were picked up and put in, or jailed for that period. And I had to reflect on what was happening. I really wanted to go to university. So that was April, and by October, I was on campus in Mona. And I never took part in any campus politics.
You were that scared?
I don't think I was scared. I would say I was focused.
But this was also a period of ascendancy in terms of Dr. Eric Williams. His writings, his politics, his policies in terms of government, etc. What impact did that have on you? Did it create at that stage a PNM person? Looking
for this education, I could not help but focus on what Dr. Williams himself had done here in Trinidad and Tobago. And while in 1970, I might have been a young, hot-headed person, I was able at university to read what Dr. Williams wrote and realize that right here in Trinidad and Tobago, we had somebody who understood what I was striving for, which is an understanding of this whole thing. So the Franz Fanon and the C.L.R. James and that kind of writing, Frederick Douglass. And you understand that I didn't have to look too far. And I became a student of Dr. Williams very privately. In 1974, my friend John Scott, who was a geologist, who was kind of mentoring me when I came back here, he was a member of the PNM, a very high-ranking person at the constituency level. And I remember one day we had the normal conversation of politics, and he just got fed up with me and said, listen, I don't want to hear anything from you. I don't want to hear anything else from you. You seem to have all the answers, but you got an education, and if you want to get involved to help, do so, but no more talk. And I was kind of pulled up in that way. And he said, well, why don't you join the party? And I joined the PNM in Tunapuna in 1974. My political education began in 1970 when I was a teacher at Arima Government Secondary. And it was the era of the Black Power movement with what was then the university students led by Geddes Granger. And I got very involved in that. And I first spoke to an audience at Jogi Road in Sawa on this issue as an NJAC person.
Yes, people, of course, you got it comprehensively only on the corridor. You see, we take the time to examine. But I told you to look at his persona, to look at his body language, to look at his, should I say, decorum. Yes, his decorum. And you would see that he was, of course, completely absorbed in, of course, clearly attempted to manage his capricious temper that we have seen, of course, once he got the office of Prime Minister. He was a different person altogether. But yeah, and his irascibility did not, you couldn't tell. You cannot swear, as I said, he's an altar boy. But the date is important for another reason, people. That is why I asked you to focus on the date. 1970 was the year that his first child, Gat Allen, was born. In June of that year, people, consequential of he rowdy raping Miss Allen, who was a child at the time. We will look at that further, but until when we play this clip again, just to make sure that those who came on late understand what the theme is tonight, and then we will go, of course, into the Lavatil aspect of it. But a pleasant good night.
Good night, Mr. Lennox.
Yes, good night to you.
I tried to take you early, man. I humbly apologize to you.
Go ahead.
All right. Remember some night about 2 nights ago, I told you about the second highest mother toll.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, well, the information I had from a friend.
Right.
You know, they had a shooting in Spain where they 5 people got shot, right?
Yes, 5 persons got shot, yes.
Yeah, right. And the information I had was 4 people dead.
Right, okay, yes.
So, hence the reason why I reached that total of 576.
All right, okay. I see you're coming from.
Only to realize was only one person there because I watched the Ian Allen program this evening.
Yes, okay. Great.
And he was related to the news, and he said one person died in that shooting.
But what is the toll that he gave you, the murder toll?
But today's toll is 573.
573, all right, okay.
Right, but
because
tomorrow
this morning on the ground report we got 580.
All right, now by 573, but he is correct. He don't go far.
All right, okay, you don't
right,
go far because
I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this.
Go ahead.
If Mr. Allen was bringing misinformation, right?
Yeah.
You know these people they shut him down already.
Oh yeah, they will.
Right?
Well, they will have attacked him, but that doesn't make him immune from being attacked. Still.
Yeah, but his information is correct. So I take his information.
Okay.
But what we had today is we had one dismembered body in Siparia.
Okay.
So that will be a toll for tomorrow.
All right.
You know that, right?
No.
We have a dismembered.
People like you is important. Go ahead.
Yeah. A dismembered body in Siparia. That is in Siparia. That is in the opposition district.
Yes.
Right? They found a male in a house. Yeah, dismembered body. So that means that is a Spanish. Those Spanish people started killing.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, they dismembered.
Right.
People all over the place.
So by tomorrow, will be 574.
574. But I was making a point. About our PNM National Security Minister. He died in Tobago in some freak accident. But of course, he was saying that you cannot overstate murders, and so I had to ask the question: if a person got shot today, and next week he dies as a result of the gunshot wound, what you call that? And of course, I had to mock him by saying, well, it appears that them calling that death by natural causes. Just trying to be positions. Yeah, that. So, the point I'm making is that it is applicable here as well. Those persons who die from the shot prematurely, but they didn't die immediately. Those statistics we are missing. That is why we could safely say it is more than, of course, the 576 or even the 580 that I'm talking about. That's the point I was making when I said that. All right.
But the other thing I want to tell you, right? You know, there was a woman who died in Tobago with her 2 children, and they found her in a tank.
Yes.
Right, but you know they can't come up with that figure yet, because I understand because the mother of the woman, she's lost. She's lost because she said nobody cannot tell her how her daughter died, because the police on one hand is telling her they want to treat her as murder.
Yeah, they want to treat it as a homicide. Yes.
But they can't give her anything concrete yet.
Yes. I remember that, because the initial information we got was that it was suicide. She committed mass suicide with her children, as happened already in this country. But it turned out that it was the police investigations turned up that it was, of course, murder because of some involvement with some man. Yeah.
Right. So that one under lock and key. That particular incident is under lock and key right now. So we don't know.
Well,
so we can't add that as a tally.
And share it with us.
Yeah. Right. But I was watching your good friend there. You're showing there, the Prime Minister.
Yeah, tell me.
But you know, he is the only man I know, and Judge didn't change his name to African name.
Repeat that again.
He's the only man who I know was in Jack, and never took an African name.
Right.
And he's so black, boy.
Or more so, those who were involved don't even know him.
Well, this was saying. So this fella is a real hypocrite, boy.
Yeah, they don't even know him. So what he said that for? Yeah. I don't know what he said that for. What I know is that in 1970, his first son, Alan, was born in June. And
I know that too.
1970, when he said that his grandfather told him, scold him, and then he had to go to Trinidad. What he didn't tell us is that he had to leave Tobago because, of course, he was persona non grata, and they run his tail out of Tobago, and he ended up, of course, in a secondary school in Arima, and the information is that he went with his nasty behavior even there and all. But we don't have the facts, so I can't talk about it. But I can say categorically that he did rape, of course, Miss Allen, that produced, of course, Gat Allen, and that, of course, she would have been interfered with by Rowley, he being a teacher at the time, around the age of, it could be 13, it could be 14, it could be 15, it could be 16, certainly it was 17, at least 16, 17, because she made the child at age 17. So 9 months before that, he would have been, of course, interfering with her, that despicable individual who now purported to be Prime Minister. And there's more, and had the audacity to, of course, pronounce on people like Watson Duke, who has, of course, a sexual offense that he has to answer for. But you know, he ain't talk nothing about his good friend, who he said was a financer when he was challenging Manning, talking about the owner of NH International. He has a charge as well, similar to what Rowley ought to have been charged for. But they say in this world, what a meet you pass you, Rowley. Go ahead, my friend, if you have anything additional to say.
No, I'll try to, because I know you're going to now start, and I don't want you to interrupt you, but I want to discuss one other thing with you.
Go ahead.
I want one other thing I want to discuss with you, right? But I'll call another time.
Okay, no problem. Got any thoughts?
Yeah, I have to discuss that with you.
Okay, good. No problem, my friend.
All
yes,
right,
indeed,
so,
of course,
yeah, good
people,
night.
The number to call 337-6940, 337-6940. And don't forget, of course, we still have that Christmas gift, Christmas giving through gifts and, of course, hampers. And we would like you, of course, to contribute. We have a new number that is on the screen now. Apart from calling me right here now, 337-6940, there's another number that you can call that is on the screen if you wish to contribute. 365-6493, 365-6493. And of course, let me thank all of those who saw it a humanitarian gesture, even though, of course, you would not have as much as you would like, but the little you have, you decide to share, if only to put together a hamper and, of course, donate it to the effort. All right, so once again, of course, you could call me if you wish on the matter, but right now I'll prefer you call the other number, not the 337-6940, which is, of course, for anybody wishing to call me now. But the other number that is on screen, and of course someone will answer and take whatever information you wish to provide. I want to say as well, I am very, 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 very heartened, and I feel a sense of deep accomplishment when a former student of MLIO called right up in Laventille there. In fact, the place is called Africa. And of course, it is also called Pelican Extension. And I went there because he said that he was connected to the school sometime in the past. And I was pleasantly surprised that he remembered all what we said about taking charge and leadership, not only of your own circumstance, but you don't have to be what you have met there, especially if it is negative. And I remember very distinctly when we were talking these matters about the people taking up the gauntlet and taking the responsibility and advancing themselves, and of course decrying and denouncing those who would say that you're from Laventille and therefore nothing could come serious out of Laventille. But so they said of Nazareth, and of course Jesus Christ came from there as well. I like to make these comparisons, you see, and I hope that I am not being too religious, but of course it is, of course, a significant development for our moral and ethical grounding. And so when he told me that he remembered, of course, the program, and that gave him his moral compass, and then he contributed $300. Normally I would expect a little $100 and so on and so on and so on, that kind of thing, $50, but $300. And then of course he said, well, listen, Mr. Smith, I continue to do my DJ work, and of course I have some other gigs that I perform in order, of course, to make a living. I thought that was fantastic, and you wouldn't believe that motivated me, of course, to continue to talk about Laventille and to, of course, express the potential of that area. And tonight, of course, will be one of those. Let's go to the lines. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Yes, good night, Mr. Lennox Smith.
Good night to you as well.
Are you hearing me clearly?
Loud and clear, my dear. Are you hearing me clearly?
Yes, everything looking nice.
Good, beautiful.
Well, I listened to Rowley.
Yes.
He looked like an acolyte. Yeah, he looking like an acolyte. And we all know his decorum, but I look at his demeanor, there yes. And then, how, cool and calm.
What do people
but that is not him. Yes. Anyhow, the mister who spoke there before me, it's so sad to hear that they find a dismembered body. They find parts of the body all over the place. The thing getting worse.
Yeah, boy.
You hear what I told you all? It will have hate on top of hate. The man say who do it, we can't even talk so in our own country just now about them visitors.
Wow.
We can't talk. All they know them,
No, well, I know that you know really that is why I love when you give us some insights, so we know what to expect. Yes, and therefore
you can't talk so again.
We could plan preventive measures knowing what we know. So thank you for that intervention or those constant doses of information that you would give from time to time. Go ahead.
So what I'm saying is, we people must appreciate when people like myself come, in the past and even now, the little that I given you all, because as you know, Lennox, I damn vex for all kind of thing.
Yes,
thing.
Yes, my dear.
Right?
Yes, my dear.
When people feel they could talk to me as they damn well like and please and drop words for me and thing. I am that type, I will hit them back at hard.
But we have gone past that. We have gone past that.
Nah, don't slow me down, Lennox, because when the lady from Santa Cruz, where have she ancestor name come on? I trouble, yeah? And she come on and she started Lego and thing. You just let she talk. Very seldom I just have complaint to carry, She just have complaint every day.
Right,
she making bacchanal, taking information from chat to show to Mikey and thing. But I know Mikey damn blasted fed up as she. You understand?
All right, let's not go there now. Remember we said we got past that.
You leave me. I will come there and look for you,
Yeah.
I will come there by you,
Come, man, come. Let me talk private.
Yeah.
Let me cuss out and thing in private, but on air, on air.
I will
let us
come,
deal with the issues. Yeah.
Something else I want to say, boy. Hear this one now.
Yeah.
Danish Rambali calling for intervention, boy, international intervention. Because the extortion in his district getting so bad.
Yes.
I listened to it on the news tonight.
Yeah.
You understand?
Quite apart
at
from
least he listening to Miss Arima because I calling for them kind of thing.
Yes, right.
And they even threatening Rambly and telling him to be talking certain thing. You understand?
But I see that he is talking out about the salary review commission's report and the acceptance by the government.
He wasn't talking about that part. He talking about the extortion now.
No. I'm just saying
closing up businesses.
In addition to that, yeah.
And they don't like how we talking about it,
Right.
Them
Yes.
They're stupid, There's all kind of people in this crime thing.
Yes.
Something else now, boy. Gosh.
But I
still waiting to hear what. I still waiting to hear what it is these 16 organizations have to say about the observers.
All right.
We can't stay quiet on that. She needs to inform us what.
I have some information for you, but let me just gather everything together. But things are happening. Things are happening. Rest assured. People have listened to you, and of course they have, taken action. I suspect that it was the timing because now is the time. You can't wait until we call a snap election or election.
No, you can't trust. You can't trust because the way they're moving,
action now.
Something gonna happen soon in this year coming here.
Now. Yeah, they're moving on steroids.
Yes.
Laventil West, I believe, is to be considered as far as the screening is concerned. I'm talking about the PNM and I understand that the executive in Laventil West not in favor of Marcel nor the I think it's a doctor that have provided themselves. Yeah. The executive not supporting Marcel or the other one.
Gosh.
Yeah. So
well, it's bacchanal and confusion.
Serious developments taking place.
All right.
Yeah. So we gonna talk.
Yes.
All right. Yes, indeed. A pleasant good night. Welcome. Sorry about that. Let me just put on the speaker. Right. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Yeah, good night. Just please ask your callers to stop spreading misinformation.
What is the misinformation now?
The body they found in Siparia was not dismembered. There were chop wounds across the face and one of the legs were chopped. But the body was not dismembered. That part was missing as such.
That's good information.
To stop spreading misinformation.
No, you don't have to go that far. You could say somebody may have not interpreted it well or something. So, everybody is subjected to mistakes, man.
Because everybody, it was on the news. It was over the news.
All right.
So if they had, I'm sure they heard exactly what I heard and what everybody else feels.
All right, okay. So you're
But
saying
the
that
thing is,
it was not dismembered, but there were chop wounds on different parts of the body,
across the face.
etc. All right, okay.
Right.
All right,
So
thanks.
they have to stop spreading misinformation.
Okay, thanks very much. All right, thanks for that information. So the caller, of course, is correcting. Of course, we will, of course, confirm whether or not it is dismemberment, because dismemberment means that just as how the for example the procurement legislation was eviscerated. Eviscerate meaning, of course, disembowelment, to taking out people's bowels, etc. Just as how that was chop up and parts of it gone. Section, I think, is that section 7, where the government pulled out in order for them, of course, to dominate and to treat with, of course, issues such as medical items. I don't know how that ought to be, but of course, government to government arrangements. So I'm trying to make the connection so people understand the concept of course, dismemberment. So all right. So one caller says that is dismembering. Another said that chop wounds on different parts of the body. We will, in the fullness of time, will be able to confirm which is correct. But of course, go further to generate recriminations. I think we have gone past that. Somebody could make a mistake, misunderstand, etc. And everybody do not comprehend at the same level. As a teacher, I would know that. All right, so people, that is the situation as it stands. Let's go back to Dr. Rowley and his foray into, of course, NJAC, and diametrically opposed to the PNM. And today, he's more PNM than me, for example. Once you're born in Laventille, you're considered to be a PNM. Of course, as you grow, you get to realize that, of course, that is toxic, and that is pernicious, and that is suicidal, and therefore you would now have to, of course, change your position. And as I said tonight, I will look at how the PNM owes Laventille in more ways than one, and have not, of course, responded appropriately, having regard to the fact that they have been so long in government, one, and that the resources of the country were at their disposal even now, and that they have, of course, betrayed what I consider to be the loyalty that Laventille had displayed, particularly, and I know people know where I'm coming from when I mentioned the date 1986 and that particular election, so where the PNM was devastated to the tree. But let's go back to Dr. Rowley again, so that you know his genesis. You see, it's important that we are able to make the connections and to see whether or not our conclusion, based on the antecedent on what went before, to determine a positive and at the same time a conclusive position on an individual or a situation, as the case may be. In this case, of course, is Rowley and his character. Watch him, of course, as I said, looking like an acolyte, as somebody endorsed. But apart from that, the date is important. 1970, when, of course, June of 1970, his first son, Garth Allen, was born. The person giving birth to that child was, of course, 17 years of age. It means, therefore, 9 months before that, she would have been at minimum 16 years. 16 years, or should that be at maximum? Whichever point of view. But the fact of the matter is that he was 21 years at the time and a teacher, and whether she was in school or not is irrelevant. She was a school child, child of school age. And you will see in my affidavit, when, of course, I would be pursuing, telling all you one time, you will see all of these issues reflected, because his lawyer sent us a document, not sent us, but sent a document to the TAT, the Trinidad and Tobago Telecommunications Authority, threatening that I, Lennox Smith, and others are breaching the license that was given to, of course, 104.7 when we were there, and they were calling for the license to be revoked because of the information that was coming out of there. And in the other clip that I would play, you would see that it was that position that Rowley is a rapist and a pedophile. I have never claimed originality, but you will see and you will hear for yourself from Rowley at least one individual who today is playing more PNM than me in terms of my birthplace, and at the time he was the person who was, of course, carrying that responsibility to call out Rowley. He said at the time that he has court closed as a rapist and a pedophile, and of course that engendered what Rowley said in one of his first meetings after he became Prime Minister, that he wanted, of course, to and let me use the term, like it seems as though is a good term to use tonight, dismember the ground report. Dismember the ground report. Eviscerate the ground report, because we were, of course, saying things about his mother and so on, when in fact we never said anything about his mother, his father, or so on. We said about him. He, Rowley, and I still say, he's a blasted rapist and a pedophile, and we will continue, of course, to say so right through until he, of course, defend himself outside of government, when he would have had no choice but to call elections and the PNM demit office summarily, with, of course, all the embarrassment that we could muster up as a people. Let's go back to Dr. Rowley again and hear where he started his political, should I say, ascendancy, or his checkered political existence.
Do you think that Trinidad is ready for another Tobagonian to be leader of the country?
I think this country is ready for a leader.
In an unprecedented all-access interview, regionally renowned journalist and media personality Julian Rogers.
All right, I'll have to pause it. I'll have to pause it there. Yes, President, good night. Welcome.
Hello, Lennox.
Yes.
I now send the headline for you with the oh gosh, sorry. I now send the headline for you with the parts. They said his body parts were found all over the house. That's the headline. Wow. That's a different news item I got. You know, Ian Allen just put up little news headlines.
So therefore, you see, and that's why I tell people, do not be so presumptuous. The accusation you make, you may have to swallow it.
No, I am vexed with them because it have plenty news going on now, you know.
No,
and how they will put it in the news, sometimes they get it wrong in the news, or it's something else other than what the gentleman and I saw.
Might have heard it from a different source, and depending on the source, you'll get a position on the matter. But that does not take away, of course, of people calling people stupid or in any way being obnoxious then, because they might have misunderstood for one reason or another, or they get the wrong news. Because here it is, you are calling back now and saying that
for safety, you could just put it up, please, when you finish with Rowley. Yeah, you just put it for people to see. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no problem.
Yes.
All right, thanks. You see, so we are able to correct ourselves, and this is teamwork. This is truth, no matter what. And while, of course, truth is difficult for some people to swallow because they prefer to live in fantasy, and of course, that is a position, that is a characteristic of Rowley, and they prefer to live in fantasy, whilst, of course, destroying our social and economic and cultural and intellectual fabric. Because they want to stay in office. But no, if you do not have the ability, you have to get out. It's very simple. You cannot impose yourself on 1.5 million people and you being just a handful. That does not augur well for a democracy, Dr. Rowley, and of course his cabinet ministers and his kitchen cabinet, those persons who may have appointments such as of course board membership, etc. No, you cannot make this is how it is, you get out. But no, you want to stay there and impose, of course, this level of animosity that you are garnering, like of course very, very dark clouds. But let's finish here, and then of course I will look whilst that is happening, I will look at what Miss Arima sent me.
A principal figure and one of the most enduring names in Trinidad.
Do you think that Trinidad is ready for another Tobagonian to be leader of the country?
I think this country is ready for a leader.
In an unprecedented all-access interview, regionally renowned journalist and media personality Julian Rogers goes on a one-on-one with a principal figure and one of the most enduring names in Trinidad and Tobago politics and government, leader of the opposition People's National Movement, Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley.
When I became leader of the PNM in 2010, an application was put in. And that application was for the job of Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago.
Let's talk about your political education. Where did that begin?
My political education began in 1970 when I was a teacher at Arima Government Secondary. And it was the era of the Black Power movement with what was then the university students led by Geddes Granger. And I got very involved in that, largely through a fellow Bishop's High School friend of mine called Anthony McFarlane, who was a student involved in the Sir George William University problem in Canada, where West Indian students were fighting racism. And they came back here educating us about the need to challenge the status quo, because there were certain remnants of the colonial era which had to be challenged. Not meaning to hurt or harm anyone, but meaning to complete the liberation that had come with independence. And I got myself involved in listening to the lectures of these people and actually participating in talking to people about it. And I first spoke to an audience at Jogi Road in Sawa on this issue as an NJAC person. I first spoke to an audience at Jogi Road in Sawa on this issue as an NJAC person. Those of us who believe in the need for change and real meaningful change to open the door for real development and progress, we felt that we had to be on board. And I always felt that if I had a point of view to express in my country, I should be able to express it without fear. And I did that in 1970. We were out speaking on platforms, and we got news that Gordon Grant Hardware was on fire. And we knew that was big trouble. We knew nothing about it, but NJAC would be blamed, and trouble was coming. So we had to stay up all night in a restaurant to make sure that we had a perfect alibi. And the next day, I was at my grandfather's house, and I got a long lecture from my grandfather as to where I was heading. And he virtually instructed me to go back to Trinidad, to my mother's place. They came looking for me. The police came looking for me, but I was in Trinidad, having left there the night before. And I think that scared me. And then a lot of people were picked up and put in or jailed for that period. And I had to reflect on what was happening. I really wanted to go to university.
Of good
so
behavior.
That was April, and by October, I was on the campus in Mona. And I never took part in any campus politics.
You were that scared?
I don't think I was scared. I would say I was focused.
But this was also a period of ascendancy in terms of Dr. Eric Williams. His writings, his politics, his policies in terms of government, etc. What impact did that have on you? Did it create at that stage a PNM person?
Looking for this education, I could not help but focus on what Dr. Williams himself had done here in Trinidad and Tobago. And while in 1970, I might have been a young, hot-headed person, I was able at university to read what Dr. Williams wrote and realize that right here in Trinidad and Tobago, we had somebody who understood what I was striving for, which is an understanding of this whole thing. So the Franz Fanon and the C.L.R. James and that kind of writing, Frederick Douglass, and you understand that I didn't have to look too far, and I became a student of Dr. Williams very privately. In 1974, my friend John Scott, who was a geologist, who was kind of mentoring me when I came back here, he was a member of the PNM, a very high-ranking person at the constituency level. And I remember one day we had the normal conversation of politics, and he just got fed up with me and said, listen, I don't want to hear anything from you. I don't want to hear anything else from you. You seem to have all the answers, but you got an education, and if you want to get involved to help, do so, but no more talk. And I was kind of pulled up in that way. And he said, well, why don't you join the party? And I joined the PNM in Tunapuna in 1974. My political education began in 1970 when I was a teacher at Arima Government Secondary, and it was the era of the Black Power movement with what was then the university students led by Geddes Granger, and I got very involved in that. And I first spoke to an audience at Jogi Road in Sawa on this issue as an NJAC person.
Yes, people, and of course the only issue I want to point out is how Dr. Rowley has this uncanny ability to be convoluted, to and fro, to, for want of a better term, be as duplicitous as possible. Because here it is, he joined the NJAC, and he had a certain position of the NJAC. NJAC being, of course, clearly, for all intents and purposes, diametrically opposed to Eric Williams and his policies and programs. And we know what emerged from that encounter, of course, including, of course, emergency measures and all of that, and of course the brutal use of the law enforcement agencies to sort of curtail, and a number of other things came out of that. And I think Burroughs would have been, of course, a crucial part when some of these fellas ended up going up in the forest, and of course the rest is history. We know the kind of brutal should I say killing that took place. They being, of course, those fellas who camped there in the forest, being seen as rebels or guerrillas, or these days let's call them terrorists. But here it is, Dr. Rowley has associated himself with that. And then, of course, he comes back and tells us that at university, having read Eric Williams, he became attached. I don't think that his position has changed from being, of course, as militant as possible against, of course, let's say, what existed under Eric Williams. And I'm going to tell you why I'm saying what I'm saying. As to what existed under Eric Williams and his sudden, of course, love for him and joining the PNM, and of course dealing with the very things, because he couldn't change in 1974. He couldn't change anything that Eric Williams was doing. Not so. I mean, we talking here. He couldn't change anything in 1974. Eric Williams was as dominant as could be. But yet still, he gravitated there and saying that somebody influenced him. No, I think it's his grandfather who told him, listen, you're playing the fool. And because of that rape allegations, etc., he had to transform and change his life. So he moved on from Tobago, or he was expelled from Tobago. And of course, he came to Trinidad. And as I said, there are, of course, some information that he continued, of course, that licentious and rapist type character in Trinidad. But of course, I just want to make sure that we understand what we are dealing with. from day one, Rowley has been deceptive. A wolf in sheep clothing. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Hi there, Lennox.
Good night.
I see the opposition leader now, boss Mark the boy Lennox.
Tell me.
She said the Tobago airport is going to cost over around $431 million today.
You surprised?
No.
Oh.
But this jokey man, some jokey fella named George come last week and say the airport on track.
Yeah. I read that. I read that somewhere, yes, that the airport was on track and it was one of the flagship project. Yes. The PNM flagship project.
He means to tell Lennox it's off track because it's supposed to finish in 2022.
Yes.
Right? And all the delays and the cost overrun because it's costing them more money. And what I hear any opposition leaders saying, if that is true, that airport should be flagged because they're doing stuff in there without proper protocol and passing it. You understand?
Yeah.
Without proper inspection. It's not up to scratch with international expectations.
Yes.
And if they do that in an airport in Lennox, they're jeopardizing people's safety.
Yeah.
You understand? You remember that is a building holding airplanes, people going to and fro there. Anything happen in that building was to fall apart or something fall on people. A lot of people passing through there.
Yes.
You understand? And this George and this company and them $431 million to date, we ain't finished yet, that could be 5 or more. You understand?
Not surprised of the hoodwinking and the illusions that they try to project, gaslight the population, whilst of course the opposite is taking place, detrimental to Trinidad and Tobago's interests. Yeah, go ahead.
That airport started under $1 billion, over 1.7 billion now.
Wow.
That make Trinidad airport look like a joke.
Wow.
I really want to see what will happen here with this, because that Rowley flagship, for the elections,
Yes. One of his flagship project. We will discuss all of that in due course. Yes.
But Lennox, if it's the design of that place, it's jokey, that looking like the breakfast shed. And what I hear that airport in Lennox, that's half the size of Trinity Mall.
Yeah, this is the shenanigans that Rowley and they are engaging. It's deliberate, They will castigate the last administration. Let's look at the corrupt interchange. Say, well, listen, it was costing 400 million or 600 million thereabout. They tie it down to about 200 million. And then, of course, we see that the original shape or the original design was not pursued. The original acquisition, because I understand even Kentucky was supposed to be removed. And then, of course, people are complaining now with the narrow roadway to and from exiting and entering, egression and ingression points. Let me put it that way. That clearly shows that the cost of it at 2 something is a reduced cost, when in fact what you were getting for 600 million would have been, of course, much more elaborate, beautiful, and of course user friendly, as was designed.
Efficient.
Yeah.
And don't forget the hospital, the Arima one and the Point 14 one they built. They downsize on that too, the bed.
That's right.
Remember?
Yes, that's right.
I think one boasts about it. He downsized on the bed and calling it a cost saving. You can imagine that?
Yeah. And of course he reduced he have a half of the cabinet ministers that Kamala had and say it is cost saving. But he now accepts $1 million back pay and a 87 million
$87,000
pay rise. Yes. I mean, these fellas are simply pathetic. They are dishonest. They are dishonorable, and they are unpatriotic.
And don't forget, that is his pay for prime minister. He have to get a pension as the opposition leader too. Same thing as Kamala. So they don't see that, but you ain't counting in that factor there,
No, but my position on this is very simple. You cannot have a principal position on one hand when it is not salubrious or not advantageous to you. And when it is advantageous to you, you take a diametrically opposite position. I hate people like that. We see it, of course, with even the property tax. We see it, of course, with the subsidies, and we have countless examples to demonstrate that is a bunch of con men and con women that have acquired government, and their toxicity knows no level, no end.
The man is forgetful, Jones, brother. When they ask him in the press conference, what if he tell people that tighten their belt, how he feeling about that? He say he never say that.
That showed you that. And mind you, and watch me. I want to ask him if it was fair or not fair. He says it's not a matter of fairness. They had a job to do and them do it. But we cannot know who are these people who were given that job. That is a closely guarded secret. But we will find out. And bet your bottom dollar is somebody, is people connected to Rowley and them.
And don't forget, your next cop out, he said the Chief Justice wanted to take him to court, so that's why he had to take his salary raise.
Yeah, he anticipated. They anticipate
Yeah.
people taking them to court, so they had budgeted for that. I mean, it is so ridiculous because when seatbelt and other regulations were introduced with hike up, of course, penalties, they were actually budgeting as to how much money they will make from that. When, of course, nowhere in the world these kinds of controls that people put to save lives, they're seeing how it could augment their treasury. I mean, they simply were not ready for government. It is clear.
That special kind of tax, they look like they could bring it on you. So that's easy.
Yeah, it's only
hustle
money after hustle.
Thinking about taxing in different ways.
Look, the amnesty that this man in Parliament recently, that miscellaneous bill that deals with, of course, the tax, the amnesty, whether it's VAT, etc. I mean, in trying to, of course, pilot and push, of course, the Revenue Authority. I mean, you see that you get the impression that they are looking for every opportunity to pull money from the population. That's all they are on. In terms of augmenting and finding ways and means of expanding the economy and to, of course, generate investment opportunities so that more profits can come in, that people can be employed, and that you have less, of course, a social upheaval and discontentment. They are not on that. They are simply on looking for a convenient source, and they pursue that because it is available, and they have, of course, the authority by way of the law and the office that they hold, without understanding that their job is to ameliorate, is to improve people's quality of life and standard of living, provide laptops, provide, of course, Wi-Fi, provide, of course, better access and easy access to social welfare for those persons who fell through the crack, etc. All of that, they will not say that. They're telling you, you're lucky, you still getting welfare, because the kind of pressure we have, we could have, of course, stopped welfare. That is what Rowdy and they are on. And totally ignoring the fact, oblivious to the fact, that they met $10 billion in reserves. US are talking about, and today it is about $5 to $4 billion. And they like, if you have on blinders, they go ahead with these kind of pernicious mismanagement and, of course, belligerent kind of talk, like if them is gangsters and, of course, what we call in Lavatil bajons. I mean, that is madness. Madness,
but I think the best one is when he gone Barbados to meet up with the Democrat representatives. Like if the Democrats go be in government, you know the Republicans when they have the election.
This man curse. This government is cursed.
Oh my God!
It is clear. I don't believe in those kind of extrasensory or supernatural should I say, attributes. But Rowley has made it, has converted me. Has converted me. The man is simply sour. And the PNM by extension as a government. Yeah. All right. So thank you very much.
You can turn milk into sourness. Have a good day.
Yes, same to you. Of course, people, while she was speaking, I was looking at, of course, the whole question of that central block. Remember, is a new company that that is now completing it. Now they are going to go and boast and say, of course, that they finish it. But at what cost? I'm sure that they would have been overrun. So the previous, of course, contractor from China, I believe, would have gone away with whatever they were able, of course, to go away with. And now this one must be doing it for additional money. And so, of course, that is why I said I was not surprised about the overruns at the airport in Tobago, the N.I. Robinson Airport Expansion Project. Let's go to the lines. A pleasant good night. Welcome. Good night to you, my friend. Let me just tell this guy here, hold on. Hold on, caller. Mr. Tagarigo on the line.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mr. Tagarigo.
Hold on.
Right. You hear me, right?
Loud and clear, my friend.
Only last night you children the going get Tom get going. Last night you talked that, right? And that's a fact of life.
Yes.
I listened to Mario Sabga Booth tonight on the television. He said you could go and say Lucian back $1 million right now, nobody asked you no question. Right?
Yes.
He said tourism, 4 and 5 boats for the tourists pulling up there every day.
Yes.
And nobody coming here.
Yeah.
But he said that the government here only concentrate on oil and gas all the time. I know that diminishes and no tourists are coming here. But the man showing you is the luck. Is that you must know and the chips know how to fight at their back.
Yeah, they have no vision, no creativity, no ability to, of course, utilize to optimum that which you have. Because it is the PNM that created, of course, the Dutch disease in Trinidad. Because prior to the advent of the invention, or should I say the discovery of oil, we had a very robust agricultural sector. And we still have the best cocoa, the best coffee beans. But it's to get people to get back on the estates and find a mechanism to make it viable. But with all the oil, gas, and petrochemical revenue that passed through here, there was supposed to be a deliberate plan for diversification. But they probably felt, those leaders, that oil and gas, even though they say is a wasting asset, they probably believe it would have been forever. Of course, we see people like Qatar and these Middle Eastern countries. They have, of course, gone and utilized their petrodollars in, of course, making certain that they put certain infrastructure in place so that when that wasting asset would have been completed, would be exhausted, whether it be because of climate change and mankind has to, of course, stop utilizing or burning up fossil fuel. They have prepared. But in Trinidad, I mean, I don't understand that level of myopia, and we are supposed to be more intelligent than the rest of the Caribbean.
Not this bunch, at least, not this bunch.
Boy.
Because what our man showed you there tonight, that is a rituals, coffee, and churches, chicken, and everything.
Yes.
Churches, chicken, rituals, coffee. Them fellas have the brains to know better how if things ain't going good, how to fight and get it going good.
Yeah.
But this government, Rowdy and them, all they sit down there and wait for these past 10 years.
They're looking for the easiest way out. Looking for the easiest way out. Low hanging fruit. Yeah. You going, you working for a salary, and they want to take that from your pocket. You can't have a line, you can't have no leisure, you can't have no savings. All of that. That's what they have done. That's the level of maladministration and poor decision making and prioritization that I mean it's unprecedented. How such a cadre of people could be so stupid? Yeah.
You want to know how much money you have in the bank?
Yeah, them kind of nonsense.
How much my have?
So they could take it.
Yes.
I never see that.
To Mr. Abu tonight.
Yeah.
Them fellas have raised that Rowley and them in board with, you know. You go in get tough and they get tough and they get going.
Yeah, nothing. Just hyperboles and wishful thinking and pie in the sky. And when it materialize, they give you they manufacture another pie in the sky scenario, and that's what has happened to Rowley and they delivered it to the population over the last 9 years and going into 10 years, and they're telling you now they've come with a new one. Wait until 2027.
Yeah, they're damn fools, right?
This has to be a Hollywood script that needs to be documented in the form of some kind of histrionics or theatrical project. Yeah. Hollywood, yeah. This is one for Hollywood. Never would I believe, yeah, in my lifetime that I would have experienced a government in Trinidad and Tobago that was so incompetent and so cursed. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, all right. I'll certainly take a look at it. All right.
Take a look at it, and one thing I want to tell you again.
Go ahead.
You see this thing when they have all the meeting, however, I say we can't take our next 5 years at the PNM. We have to change that. It's like suggesting like they could it to me, it's like suggesting they could give out for 5 years. We don't want that.
You never what?
Change that to 5 years. For another moment or another minute at the PNM.
All right.
Let me forget that 5 years talking now.
Okay. All right. No, well, I like what you introduced to me. I think it was on Mikey program when you said that somebody asked the question, what Kamala Prasad Bissessa took from you that Rowley and the PNM had that would make you hate her so much. And the answer is amorphous. The answer is, of course, enigmatic. Is puzzling. Why? Because we're only convinced only that texture of hair and color of skin, you must have, and tribalism, you must of course put that in the forefront, as if that could go on the table as food, bread and butter, and of course send your children to school and live, of course, a quality of life that you aspire to as everybody else. Come on. Yeah. Yes. All right, my friend.
Right?
All right, thanks. Yes. Yes, indeed.
Yes, good night, Mr. Lennox. Good night.
Go ahead. Oh, God, sorry about that. All right, go ahead. I forget you there momentarily. Go ahead.
No, I have a very good listener, Mr. Lennox.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I wouldn't be long. I'll try to be quick and short as possible.
Yes.
Mr. Lennox, so you're telling me after $800 million unaccounted for, $304 billion unaccounted for, and now tonight I saw where the opposition leader talk about $500 million in an airport in Tobago, right, which is cost overruns, right? But I like the statement that she says, show my lion, I'll show you a thief. Obviously, she took that from Mr. Manning.
Manning,
right?
Boy, yes, man. You're first, man. You learn. Go to the top of the class. Yes. For Manning, yes. Manning said that, yes.
Yeah, so here we where I look at that now. This man, this Prime Minister brought nothing to the country. He has delivered nothing to the country.
Nothing, nothing.
And he
but took
nothing,
take and continue.
Yeah, boy, the man who worse than a leech. Let me tell you how horrible this man is.
Yeah, he's he's parasitic into the core.
Yes, he horrible. And watch I like what Auntie Kamala said tonight, when I take a look at the meeting, right. She said, listen, she gonna jail all of them. I laughed about when the woman said that.
Yeah, because of course,
she said, better woman gonna get locked up. I said, well, we're only at the bottom clapping like a church service tonight.
Oh, of course, they're flapping.
Boy, that's how
not like, just like a butterfly, but like a hummingbird.
Speed.
Speed. Yeah.
So you see what going on? I watch it on the other side because I want like everybody else want to see the outcome of this thing because we have to get rid of these old sort of swindlers out of office. These
Yeah.
fellas and them horrendously evil. Them real evil boy. You see the kind of money you're talking about? What I'm doing to taxpayers? Look, Mr. Lennox, listen, I don't want to be long. Right? God bless. Have a good program.
Same to you, my friend. Have a good night, and of course, thank you, for that comment. Let's go straight, of course, to what Mr. Santa Cruz sent me. Sorry, Miss Arima sent me. You see, I so want to get them together to focus on the issues, and I like that. I like this one because it's a clear case of focusing on the issues. Let me make sure that the volume is on. All right, said that. Let me just get the video on screen now. Alright, there you have it. I think that's what she sent for me. I did not test it. I trust what she said is so. So I hope that there is some kind of narrative to let us know what is happening here. We've seen, of course, a police vehicle. We've seen a hearse as well. So it appears that is on the scene, and of course I've seen a headline on YouTube right now saying, of course, his body parts were found all over the house. That's what the I think that is Alan. Yes, that crime. I shouldn't say reporter, but certainly a person who focuses on crime and criminal issues in the country. Let's go to the line because I ain't getting any audio there, so we can go to the line one time. A pleasant good night, and we can see that in the background. Pleasant good night.
Yeah, Mr. Lennox. Mr. Lennox, I won't be long again. Yeah, good night, Mr. Lennox. I won't be. I call you back again, right? I won't be long again.
Go ahead.
Back call you earlier about the dismembered body in Siparia.
Yes.
And I call and tell your caller and them. Stop bringing misinformation.
Yeah, and you see, and I warned him
but
about that.
But remember,
I mean, how we go
but
now?
remember this, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, remember this, right? Yeah. I call you, the first thing I did to you tonight was to apologize to you on the information I had in Port of Spain, didn't I?
Yes, you did, yes.
Yeah, but because that was propaganda. Because that wasn't, somebody called me and told me that. I had a killing in Port of Spain and 4 people died.
Yes.
Only to realize on ENRN program, 1 person died. And I told you that. I said, so the mother didn't repeat the thing.
And I think on that,
so I don't.
Certainly right. I think another person died subsequently from that incident. But I'll confirm it. But go ahead, based on your own experience.
But Mr. ENRN program, he gives you the information, the correct information.
Right.
If he wasn't doing that, that will be on his case already, not so?
Yeah, among other things.
A long time ago. That will be on his case, so he don't give false information. He said, and that's where I got my information from.
Right.
A December body was found in Siparia.
Right.
I know for a fact that.
Go ahead.
No, I know for a fact that we have very intelligent callers on this chat, on this program.
Yes.
Right? People don't deal with propaganda.
Right.
PNM propaganda, I don't think the callers and them will be on that.
Yeah.
Alright? Yeah. So have a good night. I know you want to continue.
Yes.
Well, I don't deal with it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Of course, it's important that you call in to make the clarity that you have just disclosed here. But put up, of course, the part of it, the edited part, you will see, and it says his body parts were found all over the house. And then, of course, it says here, what it says again? His body parts were found all over the house, and what an elderly man identified as Sully was found dismembered. Yes, dismembered at Sunan village in Siparia on Monday 2nd, which is of course today, December 2024. Let me just I can open it up to read a little more. No, they're giving you websites that you can look at. when you open it up. So I thought it was important, of course, to share that. So we know now, caller who had different information. If you can tell us where your source is, or you can send it to me, I will certainly play it. But for the time being, we're seeing that coming from Alan's YouTube page. This is a video that was posted, and it appears I've seen Alan's face on it. So he and Alan's face on it. So therefore yes, and when I click on it, of course, it takes me right to his YouTube, of course, page as well. So that is the source. So if you have a source that you got your information from, have him call in. And please, of course, it is embarrassing that when you would have, of course, been so presumptuous that somebody wasn't aware and you heard it as well, or you read it as well, and then it turned out that you are wrong. I trust that you have the decency to, of course, call and apologize, like the last caller who made a mistake. Unlike myself, if I am wrong, I would say so. If I am wrong about a particular issue or situation, but that is why, of course, I had to play that interview with Julian Rogers about Dr. Rowley and where he started his political career. So it's up to all you know who are sycophants and those of you who are in disbelief, even all now, to make up your minds. You have to go there and vote, yes, but do not vote for the PNM. You cannot vote for the PNM. You will be doing yourself an injustice and a disservice. And I'm hoping, of course, that this time around, Lavantillians, no matter who, Marcel must not be what I would consider to be a emotional speck, that he from Lavantil or he from Beetham, and therefore give him a chance. No, he has attached his wagon to an organization that will never give us a chance. So let us not waste time. Let's go straight, of course, to the line. So therefore, too bad for him, but it's the greater good we have to look at as a people. Pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Hello?
Yes, welcome to the corridor. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is San Fernando.
Yes, go ahead, San Fernando.
I kept saying it a long while now, you know. You was playing a clip some months ago where you're showing Rowley with the bars.
Yeah.
Right? This man should be in jail a long time ago, you know. His lockup time coming.
Yeah. He should be. I agree with you. A long time ago, there's a term that is used for people like these. They stretch the envelope because they test until, of course, they get tied up, like, of course, a market crab. So yeah. So he's stretching the envelope. Catch me if you can. Budo, in spite of all let's say, are still not being prime minister. Is that kind of taunting that he is engaged in, because he's simply toxic.
No, I want to tell you this.
Go ahead.
This new clip that you're showing here, where he was NJAC in the 70s. Now, he's very contrary, because remember, NJAC was fighting for a cause.
Yeah.
And if you're fighting for a cause, then stay the course.
Yeah.
And that's what Nakandal, Daga, and they did. They stayed the course.
Yeah.
So he, contrary, I don't know what he was fighting for. I don't know what he was on. He probably was on foolishness.
Yeah.
Right?
You see, all right, when you finish, because I have to conclude the fact that he eventually said that Eric William was his mentor, having gone to university and read. I think that is just an excuse to be where he is today, to justify where he is today. But I'll tell you what I think. Go ahead.
I can't see that happening with Williams. I can't see that.
Right.
Pertaining to Rowley, I can't see that.
Right.
You understand? But what I'm saying is, NJAC and they stayed the course.
Yeah.
Right? And a lot of propaganda was spread to NJAC for them to stay out of the politics.
Yeah. Yes.
Right? But then too, I also want to make this other point.
Good.
You could remember when Kamala said, now last night he was talking about about Rowley not doing what he's really supposed to do. Remember what Kamala said about him? You remember the statement when she said he was a lazy man?
Yeah.
I really believe that now because, he has done, Rowley brings no proper research to any topic that he doing, that he talking about. None whatsoever. So we have nothing that's coming really out of Rowley except foolishness.
Yeah.
And old talk. So,
but would you agree that he saw an opportunity, and as the typical opportunist, he decides, of course, to go into it, and even undermining Manning is part of that opportunistic, should I say, temperament that he has. And when he gets the ultimate prize, which is, of course, being Prime Minister, being, of course, head of the PNM, he then displays a behavior that clearly is incongruent to even Manning, to what he was saying and doing, because of course we know now he's a corruption promoter and not a corruption buster. For example, we know that of course his first foray into politics was with NJAC, which would have been diametrically opposed to Eric Williams and his philosophy and the founding father. He might be turning in his grave now to see a man like Rowley end up, of course, controlling
as Prime Minister.
Yeah.
Well, I agree, but what actually sink it in a little more is the email thing that he brought in Parliament, That
this I'm saying, that he was an opportunist and so desperate, so greedy to get into government that he engages, of course, in clearly not just slipshod but criminal behavior in order to get there. Yeah.
Yeah, so this man brings nothing to the table really when you look at it.
The man is a blight.
Yeah.
He's a curse.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. Well,
all right, then. Thanks very much. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, then, yes. See here we have, of course, yes. All right, let's go to Mr. Yes, welcome back, Mr. Tagarigua.
Yeah, boy, you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Right. Clive Newell had said
in
the Black Power movement, when they passed in front of his house, they were heading west, right? They had to look to the left.
Yeah.
Because only Bush had, I don't think they had Box Hope Hospital and thing at that time.
Right.
And Badis was standing up by the gate with the shotgun by the and the handgun in the hand.
Right.
I want to know if Rowley was in that match.
Rowley will say for his own cursed reasons, he would say yes. And build a story wrong it. No doubt.
From Clive.
Yeah, don't be surprised. Just to give himself fame, he comes up with these phantasmagorical, what I consider to be anecdotes and tales. Yeah.
And they shout out to all of them. Clive will help all you. No, and as always tell you, but they're too young, Lennox.
Yes.
That's why I treat that here like this. But they're like too young.
Right.
Just take too young. And I will go leave the country. That's why we end up like this,
Yeah.
And somebody was telling me about Carney today. I pay them, they should have never closed down that place. I say, well, George Chambers was never going to close down that because Eric Williams said to leave it alone.
Right.
Eric Williams had agreed that it's valuable to the country, leave it alone. And they convinced him of that. But when Chambers come to try that crap on Chambers, he said none of that.
Right.
You wait till they get that muck they call Manning.
Right.
And they shake advantage of him and he close it down. That man make great people cry.
I can well imagine.
And people work there for 25 years, all this thing, when everyone cleaning out, they're crying.
Right.
And he said, fella, Lennox, You see, but I know you have no confidence in here again.
Right.
He went up to Carney the night before with John Mahal. Right?
Yeah.
And the next morning, my kids laugh when I say this, eh?
Okay.
The next morning, when they come back and they ask you, so you're supporting all Trinidad? That was really in that century, do that, right?
Uh-huh.
So I never say so, like a little one.
Right.
And here the ironic part about everything at Lennox.
Mm-hmm.
It's just talking like it is.
Yeah.
Errol McLeod was the leader of the OWTU at the time.
Okay.
When they closed down Carney.
Right, right.
And he made camera government, how that could happen. Nobody saw happen all Trinidad.
Yes, yes.
And look at that, you were talking tonight about the cocoa and all these things.
Yes.
The mash up all the
Mr. Cruz, just hold on. I have a caller on and we'll take your call in a while. Go ahead.
No problem, Lennox.
Yes.
So, Manion, and then Robbie Montano tell you, when Carney workers was coming down into Robbie Montano saved your life, you know.
Yes.
Police was waiting all around by Brett Noel and the place to shoot them down. Imagine that. To shoot them down, you know.
Wow.
Robin tell you that. They can open one when you used to call the program too.
All right.
And I had an interview telling me that you waited for them.
Oh, I see. All right. Yeah. They have this kind of hatred that we're indoctrinated to and conditioned, of course, to propel, because it's the equivalent of them did all of that, they calling the people schools,
No,
culture,
caller, he brought a lot of lies.
Yeah. All right.
But in your age, you were changing at Lennox.
Yes.
Yeah, and they started to show him sense.
Okay, my friend.
When he wanted to bring the harvest, such a harvest decade and all this thing.
Okay then.
And
All right.
Jackie Jacket, you and I know,
Yeah.
Rowley and them could have never make a good of the government.
Yes. All right, my friend. All right.
All right.
Thank you very much. Yes, indeed. Yes, Mr. Santa Cruz, go ahead.
Lennox, good night to you and to everybody.
Good night
Well,
to
you know,
as
we were listening to the Monday night meeting.
Yes.
Lennox, and
Hey.
the corruption continues.
Yes, of
the
course.
corruption continues.
I got some
Tonight.
early ones. The airport in Tobago in particular.
Lennox, 500 million in cost overrun.
Yeah. $500 million.
These people have no shame. It come like the Taruba Stadium.
And they borrow that money.
But you know, yeah. Lennox, I mean, and they're lying to the people.
And they
This
produce
Herbert
nothing,
George, whoever his name is, absolutely. This Herbert George is saying that they're coming under budget. And you know what that reminds me of? What was the fella named Charles? Right after, the one who went right after over London. When he lied and said that the Scarborough RC school came in on budget and on time, which was a big stinking lie.
Yeah.
Over London, before he left, told us that was going to cost $60 million and it will take a year or something so to build, right? It did not finish until maybe 2 years after at a cost of $80 million, and then they had to change all the tiles because they did not put down non-skid tiles. Right? I don't know what these people feel that the treasury belong to the PNM. Lennox, if you go back and check, I am absolutely sure we did not get that kind of cost overrun under the partnership government. Because there were people that know what they were doing.
Yeah.
Not these people here. Because somebody asked me that to ask Silver Fox to go and check that building and see if it's worth $1 billion. But clearly you're hearing tonight now that the building is because of the cost overrun. These people have no shame. And Lennox, the caller before Mr. Tagorico, is saying that Rowley brought nothing to the table. But I'll give him a good description of Rowley. Rowley is a rotten gut lying lunatic. The man is a blank man. When Kamala call him a blank man, everybody get vexed, right? But he brought things to the table, you know. He brought a lot of lies, half-truths, innuendo, and propaganda, and most important, race. All Rowley campaigning is based on race, nothing else, because he knows he has nothing to bring to the table. But Lennox, I am waiting patiently to see when they're starting to campaign. What is Kit Rowley going to campaign on? Because he has nothing. Is he going to come and tell us why he take the money? Is he going to come and tell us Kamala lied about the airport? Is he going to come back and say about Vince Nelson? What is he going to come and tell us? You can't come and tell us you have crime under control because they say you are not to be blamed for it. You can't come and tell us that DRC was to be blamed for the 22 babies dying in NICU. No, you can't come and tell us none of these things. And the education system is a success. And the health sector and the social sector. Oh, and don't ask the energy sector. His boy Stuart Young doing well. Is that what he's going to tell us? I can't wait to hear him. I can't wait to hear him, Lennox, so that we can make a lie out of him.
Again and again and again.
Again, yeah, over and over and
yeah,
over.
I recurrent decimal. Yeah.
You're right. Because Lennox, the man say he don't lie. And that is the biggest lie that he told.
But that in itself is a lie.
Is a lie. Yeah. And as I told you before, his grandfather told them that lying lips are abomination to the Lord, right? And Rowley is a blasted sinner.
Well,
he is a sinner.
He's abominable.
Yeah, he likes to be a false witness against people, and that is what he's going to campaign on. Lennox, I told somebody, Rowley is saying that Hines not going back up, right?
Yeah.
But he's going to bring Hines to the Senate. I told somebody that. And look at tonight, we are hearing this saying that he said what? Don't give up on Hines because Hines ain't going nowhere or something to that effect. I didn't get the exact words. Right?
Yeah.
He's going to bring back Hines. Because Hines holding secret for him too.
No, well,
he know all was holding secret for Kamala.
This scenario where the election is inevitable and he must call it gives him an opportunity, having regard, of course, to what is happening in the constituency, Marcel and others notwithstanding, to of course fire Hines, but but ask him not to return. So that in itself should, as far as Rowley's logic is concerned, give him some kind of political edge, some kind of electability added. But that we know that because he did the same thing to Al-Rari. Al-Rari has not gone far.
Yeah.
You're moving from there with this abominable, of course, scenario with, of course,
and he pushed him in the local government ministry.
Yes, and he's still a cabinet minister. So we understand this strategy.
Yeah.
He can't fool us. And it is one of the pylon as far as deflection is concerned. Understand that. So we have to be able to be focused. Yeah.
But Lennox, I saw where we have 3 candidates already. Let me hear what is the next excuse, right? It was before every Rowley screening, and Kamala can't screen yet, and Rowley put out people there, and Kamala can't do it yet. They always comparing, right? But although there's no kind of comparison, right? Where Rowley just be standing up and talking, Kamala sitting down, and one set of F3. Right? Let us hear now what is going to be the excuse. And Lennox, let me tell you something. According to what Mikey always say, we want to live better. We need, is about time the citizens of this country get a better society.
Knees off the people's neck, of the throats.
Right. Right? Their knees are on our necks, right? We need to get it off, Lennox. We need to live better. We need a better society. And the only way that we can have that is when Mrs. Pasabi says so. We saw it. We felt it. Right? And we know she is going to do good. And Manifesto Marco could say what he want. He always criticizing everything that she say. Actually, whether the people talk or not, Manifesto Marco is criticizing. Look at what he did Anne Brown this morning. Poor Anne Brown. Who is so passive, they're going after the woman. Something is wrong with this man, Well, you know, tonight you have to criticize everything that she said, right? Because he's so perfect. Yeah, when Jesus stepped out, he stepped in.
You see, I don't pay these fellas any mind, you see, because if you are talking about a manifesto for the electoral success of the UNC, then you have to tell me either what you are saying will achieve the objective, but more significantly, what the PNM is doing that is so good that what you are suggesting will, of course, overtake, and therefore automatically generate victory. You understand where I'm coming from? So long as he's not making any comparison, in other words, with what the PNM is doing, then you are operating in a vacuum. A vacuum you're operating in. So I can't pay you no mind. Yeah.
You're criticizing everything that she's saying, but you are not saying anything. No, you see, he does that to try to create an impression, because he keeps saying that he's the only intelligent person on those charts, right? He's the only. I tell you, when Jesus stepped out, he stepped in, right?
Well, if you're intelligent, you have to tell me, listen, if you're talking about economic policy, well, you have to say, well, do this, Kamala, because look at PNM economic policy. You have to do better in order to treat with it. You're not telling us about the economic policy of the PNM, but you keep telling us. So you want us to operate in a vacuum. You want us to be superlative. You want us to be number one, just so, without any comparison, without any competition. That, to me, is an asinine position, and no intellectual operate like that. You always have case studies, you always have comparisons, so that you can determine which is better, because at the end of the day, it's about choice, which of course what the politics boils down to. Yeah.
And so far, Lennox, have you all the discussions about what is going to take place with the manifest? Has anything disappointed you, Lennox?
Not one bit.
Not one thing. And look at her tonight. She readdressed the issues of the Venezuelan immigrants, right? She said because they are spinning what she's saying, and she made sure tonight, and she came again, and she said about it. And Lennox, as I said, we have to move forward united. Who don't want to unite, that's their business. Who want to make political mischief, that is their business. We really don't care, right? We really don't care. And we need to have a better society. And the only way that we can have a better society is to get rid of the PNM, right? And next Monday, they're going into St. Joseph. They're going into the belly of the beast, the Singh. Let us hear what they're going to criticize her with now, because she's coming with health, right? And we saw tonight where Mr. Dowlat would be the new candidate for St. Joseph West. San Fernando
West,
right?
Yes.
That's right. And I can just see him being our future Minister of Education. Look at the kind of people that she has brought in, and then all you want to come and say Kamala will lose because she's not choosing proper candidates. But
listen, that is a narrative. Sometimes I get exhausted, because I know that is a PNM narrative.
Propaganda, PNM propaganda.
And therefore, that to me is ad nauseum. It is to the point of sickening, and because it has no relevance. Rowley where we could try to gaslight, he could try to fabricate, he could try to generate the illusion. He could gesticulate, he could of course use hyperboles, body language to suggest. But the fact of the matter is, as I have always said, that all of that, you couldn't beat Kamala in 2015 handsomely. It was 23 seats.
No.
And then you get reduced in the next election. What's you think going to happen in the next one? You're going to lose because you have brought nothing to the table, and that is reality. In spite of all of
nothing.
That. Yeah.
Lennox, and here they get 27 seats, according to the PNM. But Lennox, let me ask you something. Let me tell you something.
They're hoping that.
They criticize
said that the last time too.
they're criticizing Kamala's choice of candidates, right?
Yeah.
But this man put an engineer, a failed engineer, as the Minister of Finance. Look at who he put as Minister of Sports. Shamfa, Mikey girlfriend. Shamfa. He put Shamfa as the Minister of Sports.
Well, I want to tell you, Mikey was vociferous, and and certainly disowned and distanced himself from any association.
Lennox.
I think he. I think he described her as some cartoon character. I used to describe her as one of those Muffets, but I think Mikey did worse today.
Not even Smurfette. Like I tell Andy, say you are insulting Smurfette when you describe Shamfa Smurfette. Yet, Lennox, you know what had me mad? He really put them in a corner this morning. He straightened out all of them.
Oh, yeah.
But you know what had
Everybody
me laughing?
Shut up.
You know what had me laughing? When he said that why would he want corned beef when he have steak at home? I love that. I love what he said. But anyway, Lennox, as I was saying, look at who you put as Minister of Sports, right? Look at who you put as Minister of National Security. Look who you put as Minister of Energy.
Proven failures.
Yeah. Lennox, they're not even in their field.
Yeah.
They're not even in their fields. And you put them there. And all you want to talk about Kamala candidates, look, get a life here earlier. But anyway, Lennox, I must say, tonight's meeting was really, really good. And we're looking forward to Monday town hall meeting based on health. No. Let me get it clear. The town hall meeting is for health, for their manifesto. Let me hear all the critics. You go hear all the critics Tuesday morning. Lennox,
you cannot avoid that, but it's important we do what we have to do. A pleasant good night to you as well, my friend.
Take care and have a good night.
Same to you.
Later.
Same to you, my dear. Same to you, my dear. All right, let's go straight, of course, to what we already said, that rapist and pedophile.
To be labeled a rapist in the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago is difficult. I have instructed my lawyers to file suit against 91.1 and Wendell Eversley. I have instructed my lawyers to file suit against Morgan Job and 102. And the reason why I'm doing this is not because I'm vengeful. It is because I want to protect the climate of the political arena in Trinidad and Tobago.
Dr. Rowley said he dared the parliamentarians to come outside of the safety of the parliamentary privilege to make their utterances, like those in the media, including Ricardo Gladiator Welch, activist Philip Alexander, and 2 other media workers. The PNM leader said he will take legal action against them. In response, Ricardo Welch, or the Gladiator, said he will await the pre-action protocol letter from Dr. Rowley's attorneys to know of its contents and or allegations.
To be labeled a rapist is difficult. I have instructed my lawyers to file suit against 91.1 and Wendell Eversley. I have instructed my lawyers to file suit against Morgan Job and 102. To be labeled a rapist is difficult.
So people, you understand what we have been dealing with. This is since before the 2015 general elections. He made those statements and he was going to sue. Now I have cause to sue him because he will not, of course, sue. That was old talk and hogwash to set up, of course, the sycophants and to hoodwink the population into voting for somebody who appeared to have been, by illusion and delusion and camouflage, a corruption buster who has turned out to be not only a rapist and a pedophile confirmed, but also a corruption promoter. Let's go to the lines. A pleasant good night.
Pleasant good night, Mr. Lennox, and pleasant good night to the right-thinking citizens of this beloved country.
Good night to you as well, my friend.
Mr. Lennox, I hear something going around where the Prime Minister make an excuse why he received the money. Because the Chief Justice, if I in for correction, was planning to sue the government.
Was planning to sue the government?
Or sue somebody, because I think she have to get money in the raiser money too.
Yeah, well, I can't see it, because if it is that, if he says that he wants to accept, he could accept for them and not accept for he and the political arm of the cadre of individuals that have been recommended for an increase, you know. Because Kamala said it. Kamala said that she doesn't want anything for her, Rowley, etc. But certainly the judiciary, as well as those in the public service.
Yeah, I was there when she said it.
Very good, beautiful.
Yeah. So I've said that to say this.
Hold on, Mr. Santa Cruz. I have a caller. Go ahead.
Sure.
We have
Sure.
We have 4 divers, 1 alive, and I think it's 4 die.
Yes, 4 died, 1 alive.
They had
Yes.
to go to the Prime Minister and his administration don't care about them, take them to court.
Right.
You know? And then we have the people who did not accept the 4%.
Right.
The Prime Minister do concern about a whole working force in the public sector that them have to go to court.
Right.
But he have a problem with one individual. So he say that if he didn't take the money, that them might take them to court, or the Chief Justice might take them to court. So you see how unfair and wicked this Prime Minister is?
Yeah.
He's justifying something that doesn't even make any sense.
That's right.
Anything with money. I want to throw your mind back with something. You can recall when our political leader, the Honorable Kamala Prasad-Bissessar, did bring a motion in the parliament while she was the Prime Minister, where it had to deal with raiser money.
Yes.
Right. And the Prime Minister now was then the opposition. And he and his opposition, with the senators and the crew, them vote on that raise of money immediately while he was in opposition. And our Prime Minister at the time, Kamala Prasad-Bissessar, stand it down until 1 o'clock to resume Parliament. And when she bring it back, she said she not raising no money anymore.
Right.
Meaning she did show the public that at the time while Dr. Rowley in opposition, she showed the public that all he is on is about money for himself.
But this is another clear example. This is another clear example in recent times.
Yeah. So and now he come in office and stayed 9 years, going into 10. But inside 10 years, as we could see, inside the 10 years, it reached 10 years, but inside the 10 years, it finished the 10-year term. And everything Dr. Rowley didn't justify. He justified nonsense when trying to tell people why he taking the money. But we have $3.something billion. I ain't saying missing. I ain't saying it's unaccounted. It's missing. I don't know if the public in this country know what is $1 billion. And $3.something billion missing. Divers dying pipeline. Petrogen closed down. The crime rate out of control. Dr. Rowley says he's not to be blamed for the crime rate. He weaponized every independent institution against the citizens and against his opponents.
Mm-hmm.
The EBC, without the consent of the Prime Minister of the UNC, give an extra hour. So all these things is where we raising your pay for. Nothing that could benefit the citizen, and everything is only thieving. And as Ms. Santa Cruz now speak and said, because I didn't listen to the meeting, and where 100 or how much hundreds of $1 million cost overrun. So that is what we raising, or we in this country allowing to raise your salary. And before I go, the SRC or whatever the name,
yes,
who appoint them?
Salaries Review
Not the president?
Commission.
Not the president, Mr. Lennox?
Yeah.
Right. Who appoint the PNM president who we have there, who said take the PNM gospel and cry to me in the house? So you see, like everybody just working together to eat out and destroy our treasury.
Yeah. It's an auto coup clearly, whether you exploit the institutions to stay in government and to exploit it and to ravage to the detriment of the society and the people and our children. Yeah.
Well, before I go, the last thing before I go, my leader is going to get in office whenever he calls the election. But I want the public, and especially the right-thinking citizen, do not expect nothing major to happen right away. We have to give Kamala Prasad-Bissessa and her team as much time as we could give them to get the country running again.
Yes,
Mr. Lennox, you have a blessed one.
Yes, indeed. Of course, that clearly will be a relative term. Let me put it that way, because some people may give, some people may not at different levels of time. Go ahead, Mr. Santa Cruz.
Lennox, I had to come back in again.
Go ahead.
But just to tell you, caller,
just hold on. I have Mr. Santa Cruz on the line.
It's close to $500 million, $500 million in cost overrun.
Yes.
And caller, the leniency that they're giving Rowley in this 9 years, they would not give it to Mrs. Prasad-Bissessa when she gets back here. We have to be realistic. We have to face reality. They will want her to wave a magic wand.
No, the PNM will sanitize themselves, self-righteous indignation, like what's happening in Tobago. So we know. So our job is to stay right here and resist and encircle, of course, let the wagons circle in order, of course, to make certain that Kamala and they do what is required in order to get Trinidad and Tobago back.
Yeah, they will want her to. They will want her to wave a magic wand.
Overnight. Yeah,
and fix everything. But you know what? As you rightly said, we will be prepared for them.
That's right.
But Lennox, I sitting down here laughing, listening to that recording. That man said he's not a vengeful man.
Yeah, boy.
What did he do? The report of Darren Bahow went back and said Darren Bahow said something about him. And he wasn't taking no question from me, boy.
I want to know why he said that. He made that specific statement because somehow he believed that when he called Laventille and these places to come down against the government, because remember he was saying that people call him a rapist and so on. So he making so he's not a revengeful person, but he's doing it because he wants to placate the political landscape. Why? Because he strongly believes that people from Laventille will come down and fight for he, knowing full well that he is guilty of rape. You see, he's a madman.
But he's a madman.
You commit the crime, but you want people to come and fight for you, Rowley. You have to be a backside. Yeah.
Lennox, but the thing is, you wanted to fix the political landscape of the country, but you had Stuart Young sitting in Parliament calling Mrs. Prasad-Bissessa Azamias.
But I was telling you, that is the purpose of that statement then, because he want to convince the people then that he is no rapist. That is what happened there with he. And then, of
That he
course,
walking
during
on
the course
water.
of the 9 years, he called in Duke because Duke has his problem as a sexual charge in the court. He referencing that. But you mustn't reference at all. He talking about about suing. Well, I include, I make certain that he know is when the Eversley he was talking about, because that was when Eversley was with us, and he was the man that was pursuing that. I want him to know now that Eversley is now enjoying some kind of largesse coming out of the TNM. So I want to put a spoke in Eversley wheel and let them know that, of course, it came from there, and it is still not over, because I will be, of course, taking the matter, since Rowley don't want to take anybody to court, and was only talk for political aggrandizement and for to be where he is, that I will do the necessary, because
you will do the
it
honors.
is right. Yes, it is right.
But but Lennox, look at how much nasty things that this man said about people.
Yeah.
Right? While as Prime Minister, but you want to change the landscape. You want to make it decent. What part of you decent that you want to make it decent?
How he was calm and collective and pious and so on under Julian Rogers. Wolf in sheep clothing. That's what he was. Looking like a blasted acolyte, but he's beast in human form.
Yeah, he's a hypocrite. He's Manu Benjamin. Lennox, thanks again and have a good night.
Yes,
Later.
My dear, of course, that was, of course, our external correspondent, Mr. Santa Cruz. Go ahead, caller, on the handset. Go ahead, caller.
Good night, Mr. Yeah, I'm here. You hearing me?
Yeah, loud and clear, my friend.
All right, solid. So, yeah, what I would like to know is what it is you have that has Rowley so afraid of you that, I mean, you've been calling him repeatedly a rapist and a pedophile, and he has never once, even in his wildest thoughts, given any consideration to taking you to court for calling him a rapist and a pedophile. Apparently, it would seem, because we know he like Obia.
Yes.
Whenever he goes by the Obia man, like the Obia man just tell him, leave that man alone. Every time he mention your name, the lawyer and the Obia man, leave that man alone, boy. I don't understand it. You
may well have a point, because why I'm smiling is because there are two things that came to my mind immediately as you were speaking. Because there was a underling in the Ministry of Information collected in the Prime Minister's office, sent us, of course, a letter asking for a copy of what I said about Rowley by 5 o'clock the evening. That, in fact, was done because it was intended to intimidate the station. So I understand that when Rowley was approached, he told them, what all do that for? I could fight my own battle. Yeah. I could fight my own battle. And then, of course, Stuart Young did send a pre-action protocol letter to both Andy and myself. Well, of course, I did the annotation and the response in our defense, and I sent him back a 50-page document with, of course, a copy, a wipe off what he said on his flash drive, and I sent him back the same flash drive to show how contemptuous I am. I ain't spending a cent. And I put 5 things that he lied about. He, Stuart Young, because he was suing us for lying on him, and saying that both he and Rowley are money launderers and persons who are engaged in the narcotic trade and so on, because we connect him to, of course, Delcy Rodriguez, who is wanted on a whole continent. I'm talking about Europe. Well, after that, we never heard from the Young after that. We never heard from Young after that. And that is, of course, almost 3 years now going on. He actually sent us a pre-action protocol letter. So the lawyers that we approached, one of them was telling Andy, because I know I go in and respond to my thing myself, but he was telling Andy that is a senior government official. Let's ask her for extension of time. I say, Andy, if you want to extend, I don't want them to get even a quiver of my cowarding to them, or in any way looking to beg them for any leniency. So I am going to submit my response on time, my defense on time. Boy, we never hear from young again. All the big, all the big. Yeah, I'm going to show it one of these nights, and I'm going to read it out as well.
It would seem that I know Rowley is not a Baptist, but you are a spiritual Baptist, right?
Yes, I am. Shouter Baptist, yes.
And apparently, whenever Rowley he goes to all kind of people, because when you are possessed by demons,
yes,
you look in every nook and cranny to get an advantage.
Yes.
So I'm sure they put him down on the morning ground, but when he went on the morning ground, it's you he back up with. So he realized, you know what? I really had to leave that man alone, boy.
Yeah.
But you got his number.
No, you're right. But I will not leave him alone. Why? Because he is in my space. I am a citizen of this country, and he occupies the office of Prime Minister and access to the resources of the country. If he leaves the office, then of course, let the chips fall where they may. But once he's in the office, I have a duty and responsibility to say that you are toxic, you are evil, you have weaponized government against the people, you are no damn good, you are a rapscallion, you are a rapist and a pedophile, and ought not to have been head of the PNM, far less to be prime minister in this country. That is what is appropriate for a rapscallion and scoundrel like him. The scum of the earth.
Yeah. All right. Good night. So take care.
Yes. Certainly.
And listen.
So
right,
so the mystery continues.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Yes, indeed, people. Of course, let's play that again, so people will know the hypocrite and the hypocrisy and the opportunists and of course, all of what he said there was intended to silence people, threatening, of course, to do what? To sue people for the truth. Listen to him again.
To be labeled a rapist in the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago is difficult. I have instructed my lawyers to file suit against 91.1 and Wendell Eversley. I have instructed my lawyers to file suit against Morgan Job and 102. And the reason why I'm doing this is not because I'm vengeful. It is because I want to protect the climate of the political arena in Trinidad and Tobago.
Dr. Rowley said he dared the parliamentarians to come outside of the safety of the parliamentary privilege to make their utterances, like those in the media, including Ricardo Gladiator Welch, activist Philip Alexander, and 2 other media workers. The PNM leader said he will take legal action against them. In response, Ricardo Welch, or the Gladiator, said he will await the pre-action protocol letter from Dr. Rowley's attorneys to know of its contents and all allegations.
To be labeled a rapist is difficult. I have instructed my lawyers to file suit against 91.1 and Wendell Eversley.
A pleasant good night. Welcome, caller. I think this might be the final call. Is already, of course, 23 minutes past your 10 o'clock time has already expired tonight. Go ahead.
Mr. Lennox, this thing with Phil Gerald Swine.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I was told by a former stalwart in the People's National Movement, who is disgruntled, that the executive was instructed not to support Phil Gerald Swine because he is not in agreement, allegedly, with the trying to put Stuart Small Pinion as the leader of the PNM. and the information came from somebody that is well organized and a prompt person within the People's National Movement.
All right.
And if you watch now, there have been some screenings that taken place within the PNM.
Yes.
And a lot of people, you realize, it's not going back, right?
Yeah.
Well, a few of them. Because the man, I've seen all of that to say, the man say he's not revengeful or whatever. But he dealing with in-house cleaning because a lot of people that within the PNM wanted to vote against him in the internal election, and he get the information, and when he get the information, he stand down the internal election for a later date for him to set up a racket, because you know he like racket.
Mm-hmm.
And unfair, he like to move the goalpost just to suit him.
Oh yeah. He wants to have an unfair advantage, so therefore he wants to make certain that he has control of the outcome.
Because if he lost the internal election, if he did lose the internal election, he would not have been in the position to pick the candidates for the next upcoming general election.
Yeah, but it could have only been his team, because his office and the General Secretary's office were not up for grabs.
Right. Well, he team.
Yeah.
Right.
So the team that he supports.
So like he get his Zigwa.
Right.
And he pushed back certain things to put things in place where he could move the goalposts.
Yeah. As conveniently as he wishes. Yeah.
Yeah, because he wants
and he must have also, because that's the kind of person he is, he will hold some secret, for want of a better term, or some iniquity for someone in order to guarantee their loyalty. So I suppose this fella, the Minister of Finance, is now in that position, as indeed Al-Wari, and of course, but he doesn't keep them far enough, of course, to achieve his objective of some kind of superficial change, like what he did to Al-Wari when, of course, the Vincent Nelson debacle. I mean, a most sinister, cynical, evil plot to, of course, bear false witness against Anand Ramugan and Ramdeen. So they know how politically, what I consider to be toxic that is. So they had to generate a change and deflect attention away from Al-Wari, but not too far. So he give him, of course, the office of Minister of Local Government and, of course, and rural development. So you've seen a similar pattern taking place here, where, of course, he takes away the heat of the $3 billion that are missing from, of course, the Minister of Finance, Imsworth, but of course he has him there not too far, and of course he replaces him with Stuart Young as the acting Prime Minister when he is, of course, out. But he found himself in a quagmire, because, of course, Stuart Young had, of course, called the opposition leader Azamius, and to the chagrin and the disdain of the population, but he still, of course, imposed him there because he ran out of talent. People are not going to tolerate that in these final days of the PNM and that of this government, and Rowley in particular. But go ahead, my friend. I thought I should intervene.
And Mr. Lennox, Ms. Santa Cruz said that she would like to know what Rowley and them is going to campaign on.
Yes.
Because I have nothing to campaign on. But she always have to remember that the PNM supporters, which is they are in the minority now, like nothing. So even self, he come to campaign with nothing, the PNM supporters will welcome nothing.
Well, the devil, I can't say angels, the devil has its imps as well. So in other words, it's supporters. So, but they are vast. They're in the vast minority, and they are rapidly becoming extinct as the political organization itself, which is a criminal enterprise.
And the last thing before I go is I could see that this man do not like African people.
Of course.
Because you know that I know you would know it have a black bank or African bank that is in most of the people in the Caribbean, besides Jamaica and Trinidad, and for correction, is the only two countries that didn't sign off on the African bank that want to come into this country to make African people entrepreneurs, and the Dr. Rowley-led administration is what keeping them or not signing off on them to come into Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah, and when you hear the excuse, you know that you are correct, my friend. Go to the top of the class. When you hear Rowley's excuse that they don't want to pay income tax for its employees, you know that it is about not providing an opportunity for the African community, because he would have sensed that they would have, whatever little they have, they would have taken it out and of course associate with their own. Once the conditions are good, and I'm talking about not just Africans but certainly anybody, including of course Indians.
Across the board.
Yeah.
And those are the things that people have to. It has plenty of people walking around in this country every day, and they pays no attention to what it is going on. They knows nothing about what is going on. Some of them don't even know.
But I'm sure that they know that they can find their way to the corridor transformation, the ground report, etc. Especially corridor transformation at night, that they will get to get instantaneous proof. Whatever we say, we mean, and whatever we mean, well, that is why we blasted say it.
Yes, and that is basically the last contribution I wanted to make.
Okay.
So you have a blessed one and you be safe.
Yes, indeed, people, of course, you sycophants and so on, I know you're eating your heart out. I know that you are mortified and terrified that, of course, the paltry victory that Rowley got in 2015, having brought, of course, these fake pieces of paper, and, of course, to talk about Section 34, never meant it, storming a teacup, as well as, of course, the Rishmi affair, then March, and hoodwink Roger and they. Therefore, of course, in 2020, he comes now and he got even less seats in the parliament. Only 22, and in the first instance was 23. Of course, Kamala Prasad on the first stint at the wheels got 27 seats. What I expect that's closer to 39 seats thereabout. The UNC must get, once we, of course, do what is right. I say we, meaning even sycophants. If you can't find yourself capable of voting, don't go and vote. But make certain that your friend go, so that we could get to the results that we need to make things right, to do better. We must do better. And under Kamala Prasad Bisesa, there's nothing but better to be done. Listen to Rowley again, those of you who are trying to defend the indefensible. Eat your heart out. And of course, the truth does offend, and people does get headache.
I have instructed my lawyers to file suit against Morgan Job and 102 to be labeled a rapist. To be labeled a rapist is difficult. To be labeled a rapist in the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago is difficult. I have instructed my lawyers to file suit against 91.1 and Wendell Eversley. I have instructed my lawyers to file suit against Morgan Job and 102. And the reason why I'm doing this is not because I'm vengeful. It is because I want to protect the climate of the political arena in Trinidad and Tobago.
Dr. Rowley said he dared the parliamentarians to come outside of the safety of the parliamentary privilege to make their utterances, like those in the media, including Ricardo Gladiator Welch, activist Philip Alexander, and 2 other media workers. The PNM leader said he will take legal action against them. In response, Ricardo Welch, or the Gladiator, said he will await the pre-action protocol letter from Dr. Rowley's attorneys to know of its contents and/or allegations.
To be labeled a rapist is difficult. I have instructed my lawyers to file suit against 91.1 and Wendell Eversley. I have instructed my lawyers to file suit against Morgan Job and 102. To be labeled a rapist, is difficult. To be labeled a rapist in the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago is difficult. I have instructed my lawyers to file suit against 91.1 and Wendell Eversley. I have instructed my lawyers to file suit against Morgan Job and 102. And the reason why I'm doing this is not because I'm vengeful. It is because I want to protect the climate of the political arena in Trinidad and Tobago.
Dr. Rowley said he dared the parliamentarians to come outside of the safety of the parliamentary privilege to make their utterances, like those in the media, including Ricardo Gladiator Welch, activist Philip Alexander, and 2 other media workers.
But people, of course, you would know that these people don't have the protection of Parliament. How come he filed any action against them? And how come over the last 9 years he hasn't filed any against me, as the caller rightly asked? And how come, of course, he has accepted and tolerated the new addendum to this onslaught to, of course, call for him literally to be, of course, criminally investigated for rape, which has no, of course, a time bar, or there is no legal inhibitant to, of course, that particular crime. How come he ain't saying anything about Anil Roberts, the UNC senator? Look, Rowley, give us a break. But, of course, this saga is not yet finished. I assure you people. And what I say, I mean, and what I mean, I see. Have a wonderful rest of the night. God bless. Sorry that I have not been able to, of course, deal with Laventil. I would have shown you, let me just show you what I had planned with respect, of course, to Laventil from a political perspective. Because we know what we want. We know what we want. And therefore, we have devised, apart from, of course, a human developmental initiative called MLIO, the Mobile Laventil Improvement Organization. Well, we thought that it was important, of course, to also take political charge as well. And so we formed LOVE, Laventil Outreach for Vertical Enrichment. You will hear and know more about that, of course, tomorrow, as we would have devoted more time to this exercise, because Laventil must understand the PNM owes us. And I'll tell you more about that in tomorrow's episode. Don't forget tomorrow morning, the ground report, Andy, Mikey, and myself. And don't forget as well to, of course, contribute. Call. The numbers are there. Call, of course, and you will be answered, even if it's me, with respect, of course, to a toy and hamper drive, courtesy, of course, and with the auspices as well as the cooperation and in concert with, of course, the Shouter Baptist Learning Institute. I'll tell you a little more about that as well. Yes, we are dealing with the spiritual, the physical, the material, the psychological, and of course all aspects of the human developmental endeavor in order to make certain that we understand as a people the existential philosophy that it is upon all of us, our respective salvation here meaning that liberation from the PNM and the improvement of our circumstance, and to arrive at a space where we can be considered to be first-class citizens and not, of course, sell ourselves short, and at the same time generate for ourselves a quality of life and standard of living that not only existing generations can be proud, but certainly those to come, and of course those yet to be born. Have a wonderful rest of the night. God bless, as we continue, of course, with some Christmassy music.
You're the mix with DJ DOC.
One man parang, that is how they just go. When they see me dress up, just like a movie show, looking for action, don't ask no foolish question. If you want to join a real, I can't stop, no. My rock in my back pocket, talk, I can't forget it. Hang across my shoulder, mandolin. Hey, I don't want no argument. Tutti million instrument, the quattro, the guitar, the banjo and violin, everything from Sangre Grande all the way to Seekers, paragin night and day. I'm looking for good players and chorus, paragin night and day. Maracas, para, domicacas, para, Ancho quemado, para, mucho, mucho, mucho barrandero. Hey, get it. Give it. Caminante, the traveling parangay. From August to Lewa, it's only by land by way. Roaming all over to find a good parang partner. A man who could only liquor, levanta, eh? A passing by Rio, he does play a mean quattro, and I know that his wife could sing. Eh? Carlos go play big banjo, he does bust a string for so. I make sure I have extra banjo and guitar string, so let me sing. From Sangre Grande all the way to Cedrons, paragin night and day. I'm looking for good players and chorus, paragin night and day. Marima, parang, Siparia, parang, Palo Seco, parang, mucho, mucho, mucho parandero. Wayo, wayo, ay, 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 baila, baila, caminante, libanda, hey. When you see we bring coffee by the gallon, it's street tunes and we gone, can't stay one place too long. If you like we, just join in the party, grab an instrument and play on, yes my son, hey, it has some parang players, I know them Israel foolers, singing anything once it have a hope. We have a wide range of songs, starting with the Annunciation, Castilian Warapo and the Queen Alu. Let me go from Sangre.
DJ Tough Gang.
It was early Christmas morning, I was lying in my bed. When I hear her calling, it was neighbor Mildred. She come over early, say time to start the fete. Please don't say I'm greedy, but I ain't fool yet. My husband gone.
We'll see you.
Merry Christmas.
I wish for all mankind a warm Jamaican Christmas night, where there is no snow, where the good sense of media grow. Oh, I wish that we could find true love at Christmas time. Don't have to be concerned, show some love and let the peace fight burn. Oh, I wish for all mankind a warm Jamaican Christmas time, where there is no snow, where the good sense of media grow.
Could you possibly rewind and come again?
Okay. We'll see you. Merry Christmas. I wish for all mankind a warm Jamaican Christmas night, where there is no snow, where the good sense of media grow. Oh, I wish that we could find true love at Christmas time. Don't have to be concerned, show some